What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the BallGame podcast. I'm Chris,
I'm Ortiz.
and that's Joe Cruz.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm Joe Cruz, guys. Welcome back. I'll be filling in today for, my boy Matt, Dean, and Trunks. They all suck, so I'm like three of them combined, basically.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
yeah.
Trunks, Dean, and the innocent bystander, they're still out the country. But Joe is going to take the void that all three of them left.
It's taking the reins.
Yeah. We have not that packed show tonight. The show is a mock draft. We're doing our first fantasy mock draft of the fantasy football season. We're going to have a few of these up on the channel as draft season progresses. We're doing a standard league, 12-man PPR league. What else?
Pretty much it.
That's
Snake, I guess.
That's pretty much it. Oh, yeah. We recorded this already. We tried to record this. We had technical difficulties. That's why this is posting, I think, Thursday morning this is going to be posted. But we had technical difficulties. We did this already. We randomized the draft order then, but we re-randomized it so the picks wouldn't be the same. So Ortiz has the first pick, I have the 7th pick, and Joe has the 12th pick.
Which is nice. A nice variety of across the board. No one's stealing anyone's players.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless we reach.
Yeah. Well, you guys are going to, once you get to the turn.
No, it's not
No.
pick. Remember, it's Snake.
It's Snake. So you guys are going to be back-to-back. You're going to you're gonna pick twice at 12, and then you're going to pick again.
But we're not really screwing ourselves over.
You guys pick back-to-back. You could, in the beginning of the second round, you could take who he was going to take in the beginning of the second round. Oh no, I'm dragging it. I'm dragging it. Forget everything I said.
Anyone could take anyone's player.
Forget everything I said. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the podcast. If you're listening on audio platforms, give us a 5-star. Follow us on all our socials linked in the description. But with that, let's get right into this draft.
Bum, 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 bum.
So Ortiz, you're on the clock.
I'm on the clock. And with the first overall pick, as I've been sitting here doing my thinking between these two players, I am actually going to go with Justin Jefferson here with the first overall pick. I just think what he did last season was historic. And I think for the second best offense in the league, passing offense in the league, in the Minnesota Vikings, it's just that simple. Just the formula's right there. And I feel Justin Jefferson will have a better, if not the same value. So Justin Jefferson is the pick.
So then the draft goes Jamar Chase, Travis Kelce, Bijan Robinson, Austin Eckler, and Cooper Kupp.
What?
And I don't know what the sleeper computers are really doing there, but
It's
pretty simply, I'm going to take Christian McCaffrey at the 1-7. You could argue Christian McCaffrey is the 1-1 in a lot of league, but I'll gladly take him at pick 7 there.
How did
I don't know how he fell that far. That's pretty nuts for a guy that most people have as their RB1.
Yeah,
pretty nuts.
I think he's going top 3 in every draft.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. But the rest of the draft went CD, Stephon, Tyreek Hill, and Saquon Barkley. Now, Joe.
Yeah, I'm up. Who would you pick if CMC wasn't there? Who do you think would have fell to you?
Well, who would have went in place of CMC? Like, who would have went?
I mean,
if CMC went earlier, like, who would he have went in place of?
I feel like
I would have taken.
I think Bijan would have fell.
I would have taken whoever he went in place of. Whoever those guys were, either Cooper Kupp, Austin Eckler, Bijan Robinson, Travis Kelce, or Jamar Chase. Whoever fell to me at 7, I was going to take. Those are the top 7 guys.
Yeah, that's true.
There's like a tier gap. There's a little bit, maybe Tyreek you could consider in that tier. But other than that, there's like a little bit of a tier gap. So I would have taken whoever didn't go. You know what I mean?
All right. Well, with the 12th pick here, I have back-to-back anyways. So, but I'm going to go with like the higher pick here. I'm going to take Jonathan Taylor. He had a down year this year from going from the number 1 fantasy player 2 years ago and then just having a stink train. I think he's due for, a big, comeback basically.
Do you have any fears about Anthony Richardson taking away from him at the goal line?
Now, that's a good question, Chris. I think Anthony Richardson's still going to have to figure it out this year. And so, as much as I know Anthony Richardson's a dog, he's this big athletic guy. He might take away some, touches at the field, at the at the goal line. But I think overall he's still going to be that dynamic running back that the Colts trust, and he's there for a reason. And now with the start of the second round pick, yeah, I think this is an obvious choice too. Honestly, I'm gonna go AJ. Receiver one. Philly has proven themselves to be a great team. I think what they're doing there right now is just incredible. They're gonna make it back to the playoffs again. Obviously, they'll make it far, and AJ Brown's just that guy. Pretty simple.
Pretty simple. The draft then went Devontae Adams, Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, and Garrett Wilson. Now I'm on the clock, and man, is it a tough choice here?
I feel like there's an option here that you should take.
Well, there's always options.
There's always options,
especially this early in the draft. You just want to make sure you make the right choice.
Yeah, I feel you.
I'm gonna take Amon-Ra St. Brown here. I was torn between Amon-Ra and Jalen Waddle. I just think Amon-Ra is the undisputed number one on his team. I think he's going to see more targets, so that's why I lean him over Waddle slightly. I have them back to back in my rankings. So
I also think with who's the rookie again last year? Oh, Jameson Williams. I'm pretty sure he's suspended for a couple.
He's suspended for 6 games. Yes.
And
so
DJ Chark also left. I feel like he's gonna have a good start of the season.
I mean, Amon-Ra's been a target machine. He's been racking in targets since he's been drafted.
Yeah.
So
And
I expect that to continue.
And that second half of the season, he had Amon-Ra. I mean, it was historic. We saw what he was doing. He was getting 15 plus catch. He was getting 13 catches a game. I mean,
yeah, he's insane.
He's a dog. Yeah.
The thing with Waddle is such a big play guy. Like Waddle could explode. I don't know if Amon-Ra has that boom potential, but he's definitely the safer pick. And I'm picking my wide receiver one there since I took McCaffrey in the first round. So I'd rather take the safer bet there.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. So obviously my team is looking like simply just Justin Jefferson, no running backs yet, and that's going to change with both of these next picks. I feel I'm going to draft my first overall selection in the second round is Breece Hall. Seeing what Breece Hall did last year before he tore his ACL he was on pace to clear for offensive rookie of the year. Clear it, and Kenneth Walker won that award simply because, no disrespect to Kenneth Walker, obviously.
No, Garrett Wilson won it, I thought.
Didn't?
Yeah, Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson won it.
Yeah,
But yeah, I get the gist.
Yeah.
Breece Hall was clearing the award.
Yeah, it was all him. And with my next overall selection, I'm going with another running back just to secure that two-headed snake I got here. I'm going to go Ramondre Stevenson, the next overall selection. Just the ability to catch the ball out of the backfield is always really nice to have. And with Mac Jones as your quarterback, and what's shown to Ramondre Stevenson gets that ability a lot.
I like that.
So then the draft went Tony Pollard, Josh Allen, Devontae Smith, Najee Harris, DK Metcalf. With my next pick, it's honestly a no-brainer here. I'm going with Chris Olave.
I like that.
I have Chris Olave in Dynasty. I think he has real potential here to be a wide receiver one. I think the targets are going to be there for him. So, yeah, I'm going Chris Olave. The draft then went Travis Etienne, Ken Walker, T. Higgins, and Joe Burrow. And now Joe Cruz is on the clock. I love your start. Jonathan Taylor and A.J. Brown's a pretty sick start.
I'm looking at the draft board here. I have a lot of nice picks, available to me. I think there's 2 clear picks so that I feel like they're not reaches yet, and I feel like they're going to have a good year. I'm going to take Deebo Samuel from San Francisco 49ers. I just think he has, the 49ers are always going to be a stacked team, and I feel like, they have either Brock Purdy starting now or Trey Lance. I feel like both of them are going to get Deebo the ball. Kyle Shanahan is a freaking outstanding coach. He always he knows he could put the ball in Deebo's hand and trust him. So, there's nothing wrong with Deebo here. I feel like he's consistently always going to get those, pretty good games, solid games.
And just the ability to do both, to run and catch the ball is it's always one of those ideals you would want to draft in a player.
And for my next pick, I was thinking about taking the rookie out of Detroit, Jahmyr Gibbs, but I want to play it safe, and I feel like this guy is also going to have a big year. I'm going to go Aaron Jones. we haven't seen much from Jordan Love, and everyone's been hyping him up in training camp. And I do think he's gonna have a good year, and he's gonna prove the haters wrong that he's gonna be a good starter. But at the same time, when things go bad, I think Aaron Jones is gonna be a great safety blanket. We know he has that boom potential. He'll have his off games, but I think overall he's gonna do pretty good.
So now I'm on the clock. The draft then went Joe Mixon, Lamar Jackson, Jahmyr Gibbs, and D-Hop. I'm pretty sad to see both Lamar and Jahmyr Gibbs go there. I'm not going to lie. I was hoping one of them fell to me, but I look at the quarterbacks remaining, and you guys see it at the screen because you guys see what I'm doing in my draft.
Yeah.
And there's Justin Fields, there's Justin Herbert, there's Trevor Lawrence, there's Dak Prescott, there's Deshaun Watson, and there's Tua. And I see one guy who just has this upside that the other guys don't have. So I'm going to bank on that, improved offensive line via the draft, improved receiver room via trade. So I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears starting quarterback, Justin Fields here. I think his rushing upside is it's just too good to pass up at this position in the draft.
I agree.
I'm not really a fan typically of drafting a quarterback that early, but I think a guy like Justin Fields, he's more than worth a 4th-round pick in fantasy. You're basically getting a running back.
Yeah.
At the quarterback
Especially
position.
if this is your first year starting up Dynasty, just feels.
Oh yeah, if this was Dynasty, it's
probably be a steal, honestly.
He'd be first. He'd be gone in the first.
He'd be a 1st-round pick,
and
maybe a 2nd round.
And not that he's just a runner of the football, a very efficient runner at that. He's going to make the most out of when he scrambles past that line of scrimmage. He's going to make the most out of every single attempt he goes for.
Yeah.
So I'm back up on the clock with the last pick in the 4th round, and TJ Hawkinson just went, who I was actually looking at, but I was thinking this man was going to be gone by this point, and he definitely won't make it around for the turn. So I'm going to go with the generational talent in Kyle Pitts.
Interesting.
I just hope, I'm praying that he gets used the way he should be. And as you guys probably heard, Sullivan said he's going to get a 1,400 yards and about 12 to 14 touchdowns. So I'm hoping for the same thing.
Yeah.
I like that.
So for those of you guys listening and or watching, when we recorded this, the file that got corrupted, Ortiz also drafted Kyle Pitts. So I ask you the question before you make your next pick.
Mm-hmm.
Is Kyle Pitts a guy that you're drafting every chance you get? You're trying to draft in every league?
Well, it just so happened that Kyle Pitts fell to me here at the last pick in the 4th round. With the people that went before him, I was looking at Calvin Ridley, who I was probably going to take with this pick if he was available.
I like that.
Justin Herbert was another option I was looking at. I just think having a guy like Kyle Pitts after the season he had last year, it can only go up at the end of the day.
It can only go up.
I feel like
So-
Landon too.
So let's just say for that entire 4th round area, wherever you pick in the 4th round, if Kyle Pitts is on the board in the 4th round, you're drafting him?
Most likely, yeah, because most like the players I was looking at are already off the board. So
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts is not only is it the QB safety blanket, he's mine apparently.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So my team is I need one more starting wide receiver. Look who is available. And with my next pick in the draft, who I once again didn't think he was gonna fall to me, but I'm going to go with Scary Terry McLaurin with my next pick in the draft and just solidify my my wide receivers. We know what Terry McLaurin could do. Not much that needs to be said about him. He's elite when it comes to playmaking, elite at deep balls, elite at whatever you want to name it, and he's scary.
He's one of my favorite players in the entire NFL, Terry McLaurin. I'll talk up Terry McLaurin any chance I get. His rookie year, I drafted him he was going in the 10th round, like he was going late in drafts, and I drafted him and Gibson. That's why I kind of have a thing for what are they now? The Commanders? Yeah. The Commanders, I kind of have a thing for them. They have Sam Howell at quarterback, Terry McLaurin at receiver, Antonio Gibson at running back. Like those are my guys. Even Brian Robinson. Like I really like their players on offense. Those are my guys. So Terry McLaurin, I'll talk him up any chance I get. But I think you made a mistake. I'm not gonna lie. I think at that position, I think DJ Moore's the pick. I think DJ Moore's the pick there, and honestly, I didn't expect him to make it back around to me. I thought you were going to take him, but obviously now DJ Moore is my pick. I'm going to stack him up with Justin Fields. I think that's a beautiful place to be, especially with me drafting Fields around before. I think that's a beautiful stack. Because say I drafted a receiver the round before, now I have no quarterback. I'm more comfortable having the Fields, DJ Moore stack than having the receivers that went right in between my Fields pick, where Calvin Ridley one pick before and then D-Hop one pick after. I'm more comfortable with having Fields and DJ Moore than having, let's say, Calvin Ridley and Trevor Lawrence, or, well, that's a stack in and of itself, but we'll say for this experiment, D-Hop and Trevor Lawrence, let's say. I'm more comfortable with having that stack. So I think that's a steal of a pick, honestly, DJ Moore in the 5th round. The draft then went Miles Sanders, Christian Watson, Jerry Jeudy, Cam Akers, and now Joe's on the clock.
Well, I think this is pretty simple for me. I know I'm like 90% sure this guy's going to be a starter. We know this guy a dog. And now he's going to one crazy stack team in the NFC East. I'm going to take DeAndre Swift. I think, with the fact that, Philly's known to be like Georgia's like home, I guess you could say, because they draft everyone from Georgia.
Draft everyone.
And, we know Swift is dynamic, and I think he wasn't really used. He was used properly in Detroit, but I feel like he has so much more potential than what we've seen last year, and I think he's going to go crazy this year.
You have a sick team going on there. Tell the people what your team is right now.
Yeah, I took Jonathan Taylor for the 1st round pick. Then I took A.J. Brown, Deebo Samuel, Aaron Jones, and DeAndre Swift. Now, with my 6th overall pick, I feel like I want to go receiver here, but I can't pass on a guy like this. I'm going to take Trevor Lawrence. Generational talent. I mean, we saw what he was doing towards the second half of the season last year. The Jags made a great, push to the playoffs. They beat the Chargers in the 1st round. And now you're adding Calvin Ridley to already a pretty good wide receiver corps. I mean, I think the sky's the limit for Trevor Lawrence.
With my next pick in the draft, I'm in a predicament for sure. I got quarterback figured out. I have 2 running backs. I actually don't have 2 running backs. I have 1 running back. So now actually that changes everything. With my next pick in the draft,
I feel like this is a no-brainer.
There's 2 guys I'm stuck between. The guys are, it doesn't matter. I'll say it because I'm sure they'll both be gone by the time it gets back to Ortiz. It's Rachaad White and Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, I think Rachaad White's the clear pick here.
You would think Alvin Kamara should be the clear pick, but
nah, it's Rachaad White.
The reports came out the other day. He's most likely going to get suspended. So just because of that knowledge, I'm going to take Rachaad White here. One of the best pass catchers at the running back position. So there's always that upside. In a PPR league, you always want those pass catchers at the running back position. The draft then went Michael Pittman, James Conner, Darren Waller, Brandon Ayuk, and Javonte Williams with Ortiz on the clock.
So with my next pick, I do want to sort out quarterback. Me personally, at my fantasy drafts, I like having a higher end quarterback in the league, simply because their point. What's the word I'm looking for? Their
points per game.
Well, yeah. It's more average. It's always going to be around that average. Let's say it's 20 points a game. They're always going to be around that threshold, and it's always nice having a sure 20, 25 points from one player on your team. With that knowledge, I'm going to go with Deshaun Watson. I just think the bounce back's in order. He has a full season to work out with the team now. Amari Cooper, we saw what he could do last season. And with Deshaun Watson, who wasn't up to everyone's standards when we expect him to come back and play, I just think Deshaun Watson's the right pick here, and I like it.
And, us guys on the BallGame podcast, we talk about football. We talk about basketball. What you do outside of those lines, whether it's the football field or the basketball court, that's your business. Yeah. We're not here to talk about that. So Deshaun Watson, the player,
pretty good.
As a football fan, if you're not expecting him to bounce back next year, you're delusional. In my personal opinion.
No, I agree. I mean, when he was at the top of his game, he was top 5, if not top 3 quarterback in the NFL.
He made the Texans look like a franchise.
Yeah. I mean, so
JJ Watt publicly apologized for him for wasting years of his career playing in Texas. That's how good this man was.
Yeah.
So
on a football level, this guy is top 5 talent easily. Easily. So,
and with that knowledge,
he's definitely a guy. Before you continue, he's definitely a guy that I'm looking to draft this year.
Yep.
For you guys, if you're looking for tips, if you're looking for value, I don't know what exactly his ADP is right now, but Deshaun Watson, for the value he's going at, there's all the other quarterbacks are going before him. The Lamar Jacksons, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes. There's a real good chance Deshaun Watson finishes as the fantasy quarterback 3.
Yeah,
he's on that level with these elite quarterbacks that you just
right.
mentioned.
So if you're taking a guy like that in the 6th, 7th round, like there's value there for sure. That's a guy that I'm definitely looking to draft if the value is there.
And another thing, because I have 20 seconds left on my clock.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay. Another thing, you said top 5 potential. That's where I'm going with my next pick. You guys couldn't tell. I'm going to go Alvin Kamara. I just think he's going to be suspended for about 6 or 8 games, one of the two. But I just think when he comes back, Alvin Kamara is a top 10 fantasy running back. He's a system onto himself. I just think having that it's in my back pocket, having my starting running backs kind of in order, I just think that's a really nice safety blanket to have.
For sure. And especially as your 3rd running back at this point in the draft, if he made it back around to me here at the 7-7, I was drafting him. So for sure, he's definitely, the biggest thing with these, obviously you want to draft the players that you think are going to have good seasons, but you want to draft the guys that are going later than they normally do in normal drafts. That's where you're finding value. That's where before the season starts, you can make some trades. You know what I mean? Because the fantasy, it's an all-season thing. It's not just Sundays. Yeah. You're making trades Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's an all-season thing. It's, you do your draft. You have the 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is before your season starts. You're trying to make trades. So you're trying to capitalize on the value that you got from your draft. With that, a guy who I think is an extreme value pick, Deontay Johnson. I drafted him in the last mock we did. I talked about it. He had 140 targets last year and no touchdowns. If you don't think he's going to get in the end zone at least once this year, you're a fool. You're a fool. Everyone and their mother thinks Kenny Pickett's going to take a leap forward this year in his 2nd year. And a lot of people are saying that George Pickens is going to be the biggest, contributor or beneficiary of Kenny Pickett's breakout. But I think Deontay Johnson, he's an alpha wide receiver. He's a number 1 wide receiver in this league. He's an elite route runner. His hands have improved, but man, does he get open. So I'm going to take Deontay Johnson. The volume's going to be there. You got to expect positive touchdown regression from him.
I agree here. All right. Well, I'm up in the draft after Deontay Johnson. Dallas Goedert went, George Pickens, Jackson Smith-Njigba, and Pat Freiermuth. All right. Look at the board here.
This is right where I'd say the board starts to thin out. Yeah. If you're looking at the board right now, honestly, right after Jackson Smith, Pat Freiermuth went, but right after that, this is about when the board starts to thin out and get a little bit boring, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. These are it's this kind of like the graveyard shift, you know. I mean, you have your core set, and you're just like, oh, I guess this player's cool for a backup.
Yeah. So if you guys are, taking notes, taking any tips for your at-home league drafts and stuff like that, or the 32-man league that we're doing via the BallGame podcast, make sure you DM us on Twitter if you want to join our 32-man league. We're giving away a free jersey to the winner. And if one of the 5 of us come in last place, we're taking a spin on the punishment wheel. So you definitely don't want to miss that. But, if you're taking notes, around the end of the 7th round is when the draft starts to get boring. So that's when maybe you should start looking into your upside plays. Mm-hmm. But with that, Joe, you got 30 seconds on the clock. What are you thinking here?
All right. I would say these guys are kind of reach, and they might be, but I think I need to start filling out the roster spots on my team. So with that, I'm gonna take Evan Ingram.
So
You know what we saw last year from Trevor Lawrence and him. I think we basically saw Evan Ingram become like a solidified tight end. You know, from coming from New York, which was like basically the laughing stock of New York. Like couldn't catch anything.
he couldn't catch a ball.
Yeah, I feel like this guy like legitimized himself as like someone that's gonna like help Trevor Lawrence like when he needs it, like like a quick safety blanket. Like I was also looking at David Njoku. I think he's gonna have a big year. We saw last year that he was cooking up like crazy. But I'm gonna take my chance on Evan Ingram again. And I think there's a no brainer here for my a third wide receiver. I'm gonna take Kadarius Toney. I think when you have Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, the sky's the limit for you. We saw that this guy's mad dynamic, especially in the Super Bowl. Like even that punt return play. He's a big player. I really do think he's worth the value, and especially like the 8th round. I think that's crazy value for him.
For sure. Kadarius scares me a little. Me personally, he's a guy I'm staying away from. I'm just not a fan of his injury history. But the draft then went Treylon Burks, 2 Commanders in a row, Antonio Gibson, Jahan Dotson, and then Tua. I'm faced with a super tough decision here. Again, I don't really care if I say who I'm picking because they'll probably both be gone by the time Ortiz picks, but I'm stuck between Jordan Addison and Brandon Cooks.
Me too.
And it's just
I have them both queued. Or
it's a super tough decision. Jordan Addison, a rookie, and then Brandon Cooks, a guy who's well established in this league. Both guys are the number 2 option, we'd presume, on their team. Maybe Jordan Addison's the 3 behind TJ Hawkinson. But for the most part, we'd assume these guys are the number 2 options going into next season on teams that are high volume passing teams. In my position here, I have a lot of guys who are established on my team who you know what you're going to get. So I'm going to take the flyer on Jordan Addison here. I'm gonna take the flyer. I love Brandon Cooks too so much. But yeah, like I said, I figured they'd both be gone by the time it got back to Ortiz and Brandon Cooks
left.
Yeah.
Wow. Actually, everyone on my queue just went. That's awesome. I love that. Well, now I have to think. I didn't think I was gonna have to think with 5 players queued.
It's actually funny going back to Kadarius Toney. A bunch of stuff dropped today, like him DMing Giants fan, like shit talking them horribly.
And what'd he say?
I only saw one of them because shout out to Ghetto Gronk. I feel like this is like the main meme guy on Instagram.
Shout out, Gret. We should try and have Ghetto Gronk on the podcast one day. That would be insane.
He was posting a bunch of memes. But apparently, all got deleted and his account almost got suspended because of how horrible things with Kadarius Toney was saying. And the only thing that stayed up was like there was this girl that like he DM'd and he's like, I think he was like reacting to the picture and he said like, oh, like who are you? You need a lip filler. You look disgusting or something like that. Don't speak to me ever again.
Well,
and all Kadarius Toney said was, my bad, I got hacked.
I'm weak. But with that, the draft then went after Jordan Addison, James Cook, Dak Prescott, Brandon Cooks, AJ Dillon, and Juju Smith-Schuster. Ortiz, we got 40 seconds.
I do. I have a few more players queued up, so now I have a decision to make. With my next selection, with 30 seconds left on the clock, I'm going to go with someone who we saw last season for the Detroit Lions have an historic season with touchdowns. I just think that touchdown value is going to carry in once I think I have a nice handcuff here after taking Kamara last round, taking another touchdown threat in Jamal Williams, my next pick.
I was just going to say before you make your next pick, I think that is an excellent pick.
Thank you.
I think if you take Kamara and then you're at the 7-1 and then you're blessed to have the draft go all the way back around and get a guy like Jamal Williams to potentially be your RB3 if Alvin Kamara is out for an extended period of time, I think that's exactly how you would want your draft to go if you're a guy drafting Alvin Kamara. So 100% A+.
Yeah.
That was probably the best pick of the draft so far between the 3 of us, honestly.
Woo-hoo.
I think that's a beautiful pick. If I was in your shoes, I just picked Kamara the round before and I saw Jamal Williams make it back around to me.
I got Giddy.
I would definitely take him. So I thought that was an excellent pick right there.
And I'm going to take another repeat player I took last draft. Obviously, you guys don't know, but these guys do. I'm going to go with Alan Lazard here. There's other receivers here, obviously, with that could have more upside as a Quentin Johnston would as a rookie coming in. It's always safe for definitely not safe to take Michael Thomas. That guy is never healthy. It's quite the opposite of safe. So I'm going to draft Alan Lazard here. I just think the chemistry with him and Aaron Rodgers is just going to stand out between that receiving room, and he's going to step up as a leader to that young core.
Completely agree. Honestly, Ortiz, I think your last 2 picks, I'm A+ grade for both of them. Alan Lazard, when you're picking at the 1-1 spot, you have such a long time in between your picks that if you have your guy and you see him start to creep up the draft board and you have your guy there, you take your guy.
Yeah.
So, maybe Alan Lazard would have made it back around to you, but maybe he wouldn't have. And that's clearly a guy that you're trying to draft. So you draft your guy, even if the sleeper app has a bunch of 3 or 4 guys ranked above him. You go and get your guy.
It was a reach because there was all these receivers that were just drafted actually were all ahead of him. But once again, I just think the consistency is key when it comes to a player like Alan Lazard and with the Aaron Rodgers connection.
For sure. So something I did in our last draft, it wasn't these 2 specific guys, but with back-to-back picks, I took 2 rookie wide receivers. I'm pretty sure I took Rashee Rice and I took the guy on the Panthers. What's his name?
Jonathan Mingo. Yeah.
Yes, Mingo. Yes. But in this scenario, I just took Jordan Addison, and I think I'm going to send it on Zay Flowers here. I could definitely use a running back. Because Rachaad White is kind of a question mark. We expect Rachaad White to be good because he was good without Fournette last year, but he's a guy who hasn't proven much in this league. So you may say, I need a running back here, but
we're also looking at like a rebuilding Buccaneers.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take the shot on Zay Flowers for the same reasons I took the shots on Jordan Addison. I think having both those guys on my roster, one of them is going to hit.
Yeah.
One of them is going to hit. So, yeah, Zay Flowers is my pick there.
And now a question for you. Why not Odell over Zay? Because obviously Odell signed there. Just the
that injury history scares me, man.
Crazy you say that, Ortiz.
I know you were going to draft. I know you're high on Odell this year.
I love Odell the player. I love Odell the person. Obviously, I don't know him personally, but from what I've seen, I love Odell the person. I really do. He's a New York Giant. He's from here, so I think everyone who lives in New York has a special can even Jets fans. I feel like I think everyone has a special connection to Odell, but in terms of fantasy, man, that's just
it's tough.
That's just not something I want to deal with, me personally. I'd rather take the shot on the guy they drafted in the first round that they're gonna hope is around for 5 to 7 years, rather than the guy they signed for $4 million, $10 million. They got Odell for a hefty price, but the guy they just signed for.
I think it was like a year, $19 million.
Yeah, it was a big contract, but a guy they signed for a year rather than a guy they drafted in the first round and they have under team control for 5 years. I'm gonna rock with the guy they have under team control, and hopefully that's the guy. But I mean, with Odell, I'm guessing you're gonna pick him here, but my opinion on Odell, real quick, he is that guy. He's one of the most talented receivers we've ever seen. It's just about staying on the field for him and getting back to that form.
I agree. I think, I'm gonna take Odell here. I feel like going back to that, that theory. I feel like paying this guy for a year that much money, you're expecting a lot from him. So, I do think in the future, Zay Flowers is gonna be that guy if somehow Odell resigns here. But I feel like this year, where Lamar, I feel like is gonna play at an MVP caliber. I think Odell is gonna be a big part of that. And don't get me wrong, I love Zay Flowers. I'm a big fan of him. I'm big fans of all these rookie wide receivers, but I think Odell is going to have that, potential to boom. And now I would go another running back here with my first overall pick in the 10th round. I just really don't like my options, honestly. Obviously we have like Khalil Herbert and all those guys, but I think for me there's a clear option here, and I'm gonna take him at my spot. I'm gonna take Elijah Moore. I think this guy, leaving New York, with Deshaun Watson a full year. He's going to have a full year to work with him. I don't know, man. I think Elijah Moore is due for a crazy year. You clearly saw he didn't want to be in New York. And now that he's in Cleveland, I mean, the sky's the limit for this guy, especially with he was basically playing with Zach Wilson and going from Zach Wilson to Deshaun Watson. I saw this clip the other day too. Deshaun Watson making the craziest throw to I think it was Elijah Moore, literally threading the needle between 3 defenders. I think these guys are gonna have a dynamic relationship.
Everything from the Browns and I guess Elijah Moore's camp is that he's looked spectacular.
Yeah.
I saw a video. We talked about it in the episode we recorded that got corrupted, but even after that was 2 days ago. After that, I saw a video on Twitter, maybe this morning or something. But everything coming from Elijah Moore camp and people is he's looked spectacular. So Elijah Moore, obviously you drafted him here in our draft, but Elijah Moore, tip for you guys. That's a guy, me personally, I'm sure both of you guys personally, that's a guy here in the 10th round. I'm trying to draft Elijah Moore.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm trying. Elijah Moore has league winning potential, in my opinion. We don't know how pass heavy that Browns offense will be, if Deshaun Watson's going to get into form, but if Deshaun Watson hits and if that Cleveland Browns offense is moving the ball through the air, Elijah Moore will be a hit. But I'm on the clock here.
It's funny how Team 8 is really gearing up for the future, drafting 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's nuts. 2 quarterbacks in 3 rounds. But with my pick here, I'm going to take a guy I own in Dynasty. It might be a reach at this position, but I'm going to go with Chiggy, man. I got to get my tight end. Chiggy was incredible last year in limited touches. You only have to expect they're going to make him more of a focal point of that offense in Tennessee. So I'm riding with my guy Chiggy here.
And while you were doing that, pick right after you, drafted another quarterback in 3 rounds. So quarterbacks are going.
Yeah, Team 5 with Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins.
And Team 2 also has Jalen Hurts and now Daniel Jones. So the NFC East is being assembled.
You know, if you guys listening or watching want to hop in a mock draft with us, please let us know so we could have more humans in here rather than the sleeper computers, just to make it make a little bit more sense. Obviously, again, you guys are all invited to the 32-man league, but if you guys want to hop in the mock drafts with us for the podcast, definitely let us know. We'll have anyone in there for the mock drafts.
Yeah, we just spots filled up on it.
With my next selection here in the last pick of the 10th round, looking at my team, I do have a good amount of depth. I would obviously like more. That's why we're still drafting. I'm going to go with another player who was just mentioned, who Chris drafted in the corrupted files. I'm going to go with Jonathan Mingo here.
I like that.
I just think the Carolina is being rebranded, and Bryce Young and Mingo are trying to take this team to the next level, showing off the young guns. Obviously, I think guys like Mingo and guys like Bryce Young immediately are going to be giving the reins of the franchise and kind of develop at a astronomical rate. That's the word I'm looking for. So I'm going to go Jonathan Mingo here.
So, question for you, real quick, before you make your next pick.
Of course.
What was what were you thinking up there? Taking Mingo over Thielen? Why not Thielen?
Well, Adam Thielen is one of the receivers I was looking at, but I just think Adam Thielen's getting up there in age. I think Adam Thielen is more on this team as more vet. Of a role model, and as you said, a vet for these younger guys. And I think Jonathan Mingo is going to learn a lot from Adam Thielen, who's been in the league for a very long time, and I think that's a good wingman to help.
I agree.
Jonathan Mingo's progression throughout the season. And with my next pick is a guy who, once again, bothered by the injury bug, but we know him to be electric when he is healthy. So running back from San Francisco, I'm going to go Mr. Elijah Mitchell with my next pick in the draft. Once again, he has superstar ability when it comes to playmaking. We know that with the way this offense works, if he's healthy under Kyle Shanahan, he's going to play a big factor in the Niners.
100%. I also feel like Elijah Mitchell is like the perfect handcuff for Christian McCaffrey. So that's a great pick.
For sure. And then the draft went Damian Harris, Cole Kmet, Dalton Kincaid, Rondell Moore, and Tyler Algier. So if you look at my team here, my receivers are pretty set. I got 5 of them things. Yeah. I got 6 receivers, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4.
2 running backs.
5, 6. 2 running backs, a receiver, a quarterback, and a tight end. So I'm in the running back market here. And honestly, man, I'm going to draft for upside here. So I'm gonna go with Keandre Miller from New Orleans here. If Alvin
Wow.
Kamara misses time, he might, be that guy. Even if I'm only getting 6 weeks out of him, I'll take the 6 weeks out of him. It's a guy who could potentially be, an RB15 you're looking at maybe even higher. But with no Kamara, he's going to be the guy there. So obviously Jamal Williams is there, but Keandre Miller's going to see extended touches if Alvin Kamara is out.
And not to disrespect Jamal Williams, but he was a goal line merchant, so I feel like
he's not much through the passing game.
Yeah, so I feel like if Keandre Miller really shows that work in training camps, I feel like he's definitely going to get good touches and good points in the first couple weeks if Kamara is suspended.
For sure.
All right, I'm up here. After that, after Keandre Miller, we had Jacoby Myers, Adam Thielen, Darnell Mooney, Geno Smith, and I'm up. I think this is
another. I'm sorry to interrupt you. There's another team with 2 quarterbacks now. This is awesome. Joe Burrow and Geno Smith.
It's kind of crazy. I think I'm gonna draft a running back here after drafting back-to-back receivers. I think I'm due for a running back, and right now this guy is in how do we say it? Signed to a team, but
he's in purgatory.
Yeah, he's in purgatory. But I think this guy is whoever does sign him, and he's probably gonna return to his team anyway. But I just think this guy is he's that guy. I think he's I don't expect big things, but I feel like he's always a great safety blanket. And I know people say oh, he's washed and whatever, but I think at the value I'm getting here right now, which is at the end of the 11th round, I think it's perfectly fine to draft this guy. I'm gonna take Zeke.
Drafting a guy who isn't even on a team. It's a bold play.
Mm-hmm. It's a bold play, but I think he's gonna get signed before the season starts. We're also a month and a half before, season, so
fair enough.
I think I got time. Okay. My next pick.
Don't you think you could have waited on a guy who wasn't on a team till later in the draft?
Well, he's projected to go in the 12th. So
yeah, I guess the computers would have picked him.
Or another quarterback.
So I wasn't picking his ass for sure.
I was gonna think about it. I'd probably end up not doing it.
Yeah.
Bless you.
No.
All right, with my next pick.
Anytime, man.
There's 3 guys that I'm really stuck between right now. 2 of them are from Kansas City, and now I think about it, having Kadarius Toney really doesn't make sense for me to draft them. I am expecting big things though from Rashid Rice and Sky Moore, but I think the clear pick for me here is Nico Collins. I'm a big CJ Stroud fan, and I feel like that Texans team is going to get down and dirty this year. I feel like that division is pretty weak, aside from the Jaguars. But I feel like realistically, the Texans do have a good 6 wins in them, maybe 5. But we saw towards the end of the year when Nico Collins in, and I feel with CJ Stroud, they're going to take a pretty good leap here. He's going to do things.
And who is he competing with for targets?
Yeah, exactly.
No one. So for sure.
I mean, they signed Dalton Schultz, but even then, he's a tight end. So
yeah. And then the draft went Rashid Rice, Jerick McKinnon, Greg Dulcich, Tyler Higbee, and now I'm on the clock. And like I said with my last pick, I'm set on receivers. I have a quarterback. I have a tight end. I'm swinging for upside running backs here. So I'm going to go with Roschon Johnson from Chicago. Khalil Herbert's backup. He was the backup to Bijan Robinson. But shout out, pick aside, Joel Moran always preaches about this guy, Roschon Johnson. He looked incredible in his limited touches at Texas behind Bijan Robinson. He could probably make a role for himself in Chicago because Bijan's better than Khalil Herbert. So Roschon Johnson might show out and really carve up a spot for himself. And then the draft went Russell Wilson, Tyler Boyd, Devin Singletary, Deontay Foreman, and Sky Moore, leaving Ortiz on the clock.
With my next pick, my next 2 picks, I actually have them both lined up. With the 12th pick in the 12th round, I'm going to go with a wide receiver out of Jacksonville. I'm going to go Zay Jones. We saw what Zay Jones could do last season. Wasn't the most consistent throughout the weeks, but when he was good, he was really good last season.
100%.
And I just think after seeing the potential what he can be for this offense, hopefully he is involved a lot more. And I just think 12th round, last pick, I think this is good value. It's probably good value for all these players realistically, but And my next pick, I'm going to go running back from Miami. I'm going to go Raheem Mostert. One of those guys who kind of like Elijah Mitchell can't really stay on the field obviously because they're injured, but one of those guys who can be able to make a play for you, especially with the playmakers you have there down in Miami with Tua and Jalen Waddle. But I think Raheem Mostert, it was the right pick. They keep drafting quarterbacks, bro.
With my next pick, I'm going to do something a little unprecedented here. I'm going to take the 49ers defense. There's one guy I want to fill my last bench spot, and I think I'm going to be able to get him later. So why not go get the best defense in the NFL?
Smart.
Interesting.
This is something I don't do normally, but my team's kind of weird right now, so why not?
It's not as weird as these other teams.
It's a mock draft. This isn't a real league, so I'm going to try things.
Team 9 is dynasty ready. They have Richardson and Bryce Young.
Yo, is your last guy Donovan Peoples-Jones?
Huh?
I said, is your last guy Donovan Peoples-Jones?
No, but I love that. He's on my dynasty team for sure. That's my guy. I love Donovan Peoples-Jones. Big body, has hands, speed, everything you want in a wide receiver. You just never put it all together.
Yeah, defense here. All right. I think there's a clear pick here, and I'm gonna take the Eagles as well. I think the Eagles defense, adding the 2 players they added this draft to, kind of forgot their names. Oh, Jalen Carter and the other guy from Georgia too. But I don't know. This Eagles defense is stacked to the limit. I mean,
yeah, they were historically. They were the best team. They led the NFL in sacks last season, and it was a record wherever they had. And they only got better at the in the trenches.
4 players had double-digit sacks or something like that on that team, which is crazy. I think Eagles defense makes sense there. Now I would go kicker, but I'm not gonna just pick a kicker for why not. So let's look at my options here. I feel like I definitely could use another running back here, so I'm gonna go running back, I think.
And who are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking so actually. I think this is my guy.
Just thinking this is his guy.
So,
I saw who his guy was. I'm not gonna say it though.
I was looking at the list, and it's crazy to think Kareem Hunt's a free agent right now. He's not signed to the Browns.
Take him.
So I'm actually gonna take my boy Jerome Ford, the backup to Nick Chubb. I feel like I'm just filling up death spots at this point, so it doesn't really matter.
It's really good value.
And I feel like
a handcuff.
Yeah, I feel like it's a good handcuff to take at this point in the game. I feel like if I had Nick Chubb, I'd definitely take him too, because I do believe in taking handcuffs, because you never know when you're gonna need it. He could go down first week, and there your season goes. So
for sure. And the same reason why I drafted the 49ers in my last pick. I think the guy that I want to be my last step piece, I think he's going to make his way back around to me. So I'm going to take my kicker here, and I'm going to go with Harrison Butker. They have Evan McPherson, Daniel Carlson, and Justin Tucker all ranked above him, but I'm going to take the guy from the best offense in the NFL and be pretty as my kicker. And I'm going to be pretty content with that. So Harrison Butker.
I like that.
And then a string of kickers goes right after.
Man,
wow.
All the kickers.
Yeah, that was a good pick.
Let's go. I had all 5 of those guys queued for my picker.
That was a good pick there for sure. The draft went Daniel Carlson, the Ravens defense, Jake Elliott, and Tyler Bass. So good thing I took Harrison Butker there, because he wasn't making it back around. No one was making it back around.
No one was making it back around.
There's 2 kickers that I like still that are on the board.
Young Hoku.
Yeah, and honestly, that's who I'm selecting. There's not much depth I can go into with my kicker and defense, but Young Ku, I just feel like a very consistent kicker and has a leg on him. He could put in 55.
There was that one year where he was literally putting up 20 fantasy points.
He was literally the goat.
He was on my team, bro. Oh my gosh.
I remember
I didn't win the chip that year though, because I never win the chip. But man,
Bro,
He was dead like that. The last half of the season, he was putting up 20 points a game. It was really absurd.
He was winning weeks for everyone who had him in, which is.
Nah,
I mean,
If you know, you know. I'm pretty sure it was like 2020
yeah, I
maybe.
was thinking 2019, 2020, something like that.
2020, something like that. But yeah, he was going crazy.
and with my last pick in the draft, 15th round, first overall selection, I'll be selecting my defense, and I'm gonna go with the Miami Dolphins.
Hmm.
Just a whole bunch of playmakers out there that will.
I love the addition of Jalen Ramsey too.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's a steal considering what 1, 2,
I think I would
3, 4, 5 defenses went before that. Getting the Dolphins as the 6th defense off the board is pretty good value.
Yeah,
And then a bunch of defenses went right after. So Steelers, Patriots, Jake Myers from the Seahawks defense, Chiefs defense. My last pick, been talking about it for rounds. I'm going with Chase Brown from the Cincinnati Bengals. Samaje Perine gone. We don't know what Joe Mixon's deal is, so I'm going to take another rookie and just hope for the best here. I just took 3
All the
straight.
upside.
Yeah, I took 3 rookie running backs.
a
I
lot
have
of
2
rookies.
rookie wide receivers. I'm going for the upside here. One of these rookies is going to hit and be a stud for me. So
100%.
The last pick in the draft.
yeah, the draft then went Brandon McManus, Green Bay Packers defense, Matt G from Indianapolis, and Dicker the kicker from the Chargers.
I was actually looking at Brandon McManus, but it's fine. I think there's one clear option here for me. And this guy is pretty new. He's not as old as the other kickers. Actually, there's 2 kickers here that I like, but I think I'm gonna go with Jake Moody. San Francisco's a solid team. He's gonna get his kicks in whenever. That's pretty much it.
Graham Gano's been in the league 14 years. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Nick Folks are in there 16. Wow.
I like my team. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and that's the draft. I mean, we'll start with you, Ortiz, since you were the first pick. Run us down your team.
So, should I do it in draft order or just QB down? Because I'm just
Do QB down.
QB down.
Yeah.
So my starting lineup is, this is a 2 flex league, by the way, if that wasn't mentioned. We have Deshaun Watson, Breece Hall, Ramondre Stevenson, Justin Jefferson, Terry McLaurin, Kyle Pitts, Kamara, and Jamal Williams as what the flexes they gave me. Younghoe Koo, Miami Dolphins defense, Alan Lazard, Jonathan Mingo, Elijah Mitchell, Zay Jones, and Raheem Mostert.
Nice.
Awesome. So my team at quarterback, Justin Fields. My running backs are Christian McCaffrey and Rashad White. My receivers are Amon-Ra St. Brown and Chris Olave. My tight end is Chiggy. My flexes are DJ Moore and Deontay Johnson. And then my bench is Jordan Addison, Zay Flowers, Keandre Miller, Roshan Johnson, and Chase Brown.
All the rookies.
I have the 49ers defense and Harrison Butker, the kicker.
It's mad funny how they all have no pictures. This is how you know
Yeah.
they're rookies.
All right, with my team, I have Trevor Lawrence at quarterback, Jonathan Taylor at RB1, Aaron Jones at RB2. My wide receivers are AJ Brown, Deebo Samuel. My tight ends, Evan Ingram. At flex, I have DeAndre Swift and Kadarius Toney. My kickers, Jake Moody, Eagles defense. And on the bench, I have Odell, Elijah Moore, Zeke, Nico Collins, and Jerome Ford.
Solid.
So,
Yep.
You guys listening and watching, let us know in the comments who you guys think has the best team. But out of you guys, without saying your own team, who do you think has the best team? In my opinion here,
It's Ortiz.
I'm going to go with Ortiz over you too, Joe Cruz.
I
Yeah.
think Ortiz is
I think Ortiz had a really good draft.
I like your starters. I just feel like
I think
a bench full of rookies is.
I think in this scenario for Ortiz, the biggest thing is what happens with Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
If Alvin
Yeah.
Kamara hits, you have a God squad.
Yeah.
If Alvin Kamara doesn't hit,
Yeah,
you
he's-
might be in trouble.
I might be in a lot of
I
trouble.
still think you have actually not yet.
No, you
Yeah.
would definitely have a good team without Kamara, but he's a very, very important piece to your team. But
Yeah,
that was
Okay.
our first fantasy mod. Who do you think?
Yeah. Both your teams are pretty close, right? Joe Cruz does bring up a good point with all the rookies, but me personally, I like rookies in the draft, but I think
fair.
the upside's there, so I think Chris's team is better. I just think
Okay.
getting McCaff at the 7th overall selection really
That
kind
was
of
pretty
boosted it
nuts.
just a little
Yeah.
bit.
That was pretty fucking
Yeah.
nuts. I'm not gonna
I'm
lie.
looking
I
at your
was-
team and I see McCaff 1-7. I said, huh,
Yeah.
that's so stupid.
Yeah, that was pretty
Also,
pretty
I
insane.
love your receiver. I love him. I drafted him.
My
on Raw.
receivers are nice.
Yeah.
I think I drafted him on Raw like 5th or 6th round last year in one of my leagues, and
Having the Fields DJ Moore stack is pretty
Yeah.
sick. Yeah, I thought I had a pretty solid draft. My bench, I definitely could have drafted some guys that
I feel like my
weren't
bench is also
rookies.
pretty weak as well.
It also helps when these bots are drafting 17 quarterbacks.
Yeah. But that was our first mock draft. I think the next mock draft we have on the channel it'll probably be a dynasty startup mock draft. So if you guys are interested in that, again, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, all that fun trouble. Support us, support your boys. But
Please.
now we got some TikTok segments. I know, Ortiz, you said you had one. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to hit one of mine first?
We'll start with mine.
All right, go for it.
What are these? Okay, career over unders. NFL career over unders. First off, we got Cooper Kupp. Career targets over under 704.
704.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the under. I think that's a lot for Cooper Kupp.
I think it's a lot too, but I think I'm gonna go with the over.
Well, the under is correct at 696.
Let's go. Let's get it.
Jarvis Landry. Career reception percentage. Oh, wow, I said that super weird. Wow.
Yeah.
Jarvis Landry. Career reception percentage. Over under 67.4.
So this is the percentage of balls he caught that were thrown in
In his direction, yes.
And the percent was what?
The line was at 67.4.
I'm gonna take the over here.
67.4 is a lot.
Jarvis Landry was known for his hands,
That
man.
is true. I'm gonna take the over too.
The under is correct
Yeah.
at 65.8. Bobby Wagner, career offensive yards. Over under 186.
This might be the weirdest line we've ever done for any over under stats.
Yep.
186?
186.
No way. I'm taking the under.
Nah, something's telling me. What do you play besides?
He's a linebacker.
Yeah, no,
linebacker.
I know he's a linebacker, but what would you be playing on offense? Running back?
I don't even know.
I'm gonna take the over. Screw it.
The over is correct at 200.
When we're done with the podcast, you need to find me the games that this happened. I need to look it up. But
He definitely ran like
that's
100 yards.
I kind of figured once you said the line was 180, it had to be over because that's a lot. But that's just nuts.
It's absurd, right?
I feel like in a season, if he was that an offensive player, I feel like 180 isn't crazy if he's getting.
I mean, JJ Watt had that year where he was playing tight end for a good chunk of the year, getting touchdowns and shit. But there's no way he had close to 180 yards. There's no way.
200 yards.
There's no way. There's no way.
Well, we'll see after.
Yeah.
And then I have two more after this. One more after this. Harrison Smith, career force fumbles. The line's at 8. Harrison Hitman Smith.
I'm going to take the over. He reminds me of Darren Sharper, one of the hardest, most hitting safeties in the league.
I'm going to go with under.
But Greg Jennings put the team on his back, though.
Doe. The over was correct at 9.
Yeah.
And
shout out Darren Sharper.
The last one I got here, Jadeveon Clowney, career sacks. The line's at 45.
I'm going to take the under.
I feel like the over should. He's been in the league for a long time. I feel like 45 sacks is kind of low. I'm gonna take the over.
Under is correct at 43.
I got 3 correct. How many?
1 correct.
I'm the winner.
Chris is the winner.
Round of applause for me. Yeah.
And I'm going to look up Bobby Wagner while you introduce your.
So I have 3 segments here. We'll do this one first. Guess the NFL player based on their career path. So, the first guy was drafted by the Saints. He then went to the Seattle Seahawks. He then went to the Green Bay Packers. And he finished his career with the Chicago Bears.
Is this like all time?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Say the first 2 teams again.
Drafted by the Saints, then the Seahawks, then the Packers, then the Bears.
Saints. This is all time. Oh man,
This is
I wish I knew NFL draft.
what year was he drafted?
2010. I'm not giving you guys any like 1960s
No, yeah,
play. It
yeah.
is all time. Like it's a guy who's not
Yeah,
currently in the league anymore, but it's not someone that you guys should know this
Yeah.
guy.
2000.
Hold on, and say the career path again because I keep forgetting it, and I'm just gonna write it down now so I won't forget it anymore.
Saints, Seahawks, Packers, Bears. I'll give you guys one more hint. It was an offensive player.
I was gonna ask what year did he retire?
Retired.
2021.
So bad at this stuff.
Saints, Seahawks, Packers, Bears.
Wow, it's crazy how there's not a single name coming to my head.
Just think of guys who played for the
I know,
Saints.
I'm
That's what I'm thinking of. And
He's known for the Saints. I'll give you guys that too.
I'm thinking of Bears.
He's known for the Saints. An offensive player.
I think I gotta know this guy.
I'm not giving you guys an alignment. I'm not that mean.
Yeah. I know. I'm just Saints.
I was thinking. No, it's you said drafted 2010, right?
Yeah.
So the player I'm thinking about, I think is the right one.
Just guess it.
It's not right, but Marquise Colston.
No.
Yeah,
You're thinking too hard.
I am thinking too hard.
I feel like it's obvious, but I
It
can't.
is.
It's so obvious.
I can't think of a
Definitely is
name.
so obvious.
It's so obvious.
so bad.
I'm actually getting pretty mad right now because this is the easiest one I had.
Nah.
This is really an easy one. Think of Saints offensive players
I'm thinking.
in our lifetimes. Start naming them. Start guessing them. You don't get points off if you guess wrong.
Yeah, I know.
Start guessing them.
Was he on the Seahawks winning?
I'm not giving you any more hints. Start thinking of Saints players who played offense in our lifetimes and start guessing them, and I'll tell you if you're correct or if you're wrong.
I'm blanking. I can't think of anyone.
You can. There are players on the Saints. Start thinking of them and guessing them.
Obviously, they played with Drew Brees. I'm thinking of Drew Brees.
Right. They played with Drew
I'm thinking of
Brees.
the wide receivers he had.
Don't think of the wide receivers.
Oh, he's not a wide receiver.
So
Nope.
he might be could be a running back.
Don't
Or-
think of the running backs.
So it's definitely a tight end.
It's a tight end.
Oh my goodness. Jimmy Graham.
It's
Oh,
Jimmy
That's
Graham.
so bad.
That was so obvious.
bad.
Should I even continue?
don't
They
know.
only get harder from
continue,
it.
Continue.
All right. So this guy was drafted by the Vikings, went to the Oakland Raiders, went to the New England Patriots, and then he was done.
With the Patriots?
He actually then went. This is weird. So in his final year, he was on 3 teams. So his career path is the Vikings, the Raiders, the Patriots. And in his final year, he was on the Patriots, the Vikings, and the Tennessee Titans. In that final year, he appeared in 4 games for the Vikings, 4 games for the Patriots, and 8 games for the Titans.
That's crazy.
But that part's not that important.
not that
Think of
important.
the beginning of his career.
Yeah, it's Randy Moss, right?
It is indeed Randy Moss. Beautiful. Beautiful. That one was easier, I guess.
Yeah, that one was definitely easier.
All right. This next guy, drafted by the Jets, then went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, then to the New England Patriots, then back to the Jets, and retired as a Kansas City Chief. And I'll give you guys a hint. This is a defensive player.
Defensive player. Oh, Darrell Revis.
Darrell Revis is correct. Awesome. Beautiful. So my next TikTok segment is draft your perfect wide receiver. So we're going to
Ooh.
divvy it up into 4 categories. The categories are body, pause, hands, athleticism, and speed. So athleticism is a little bit different than speed. Athleticism will go
more-
like the vertical.
Yeah, it's more like the
speed is
intangibles.
just
Speed.
speed. Yeah.
40-yard dash.
Yeah. So Joe Cruz, you're our guest. I'll give you the first pick.
All right. So we said body, speed, athleticism,
and hands.
hands. All right.
And this is all time.
All time.
Mhm.
Or do you want to do current? We could do current. We'll do current.
Do current?
Yeah. Let me do the intro again, though. Draft your perfect wide receiver using current players only.
All right.
Yeah. Draft your perfect wide receiver using only current receivers only.
All right. So I'm gonna go first. Well, I'm gonna just take the obvious out of the way. I think I'm gonna go with Tyreek Hill's speed. That's the first overall pick.
Speed.
That's a great pick. I wanted that. I'm pretty upset.
You want to go second, or should I go?
You
second?
could go second. We'll go in order here.
I think securing this is good. Get out of the way now. I'm gonna go with body. I'm gonna go Mike Evans.
I like that.
I'm up here. Oh. Let me do this again. Sorry. I fucked up. The categories are body, speed, athleticism, hands, and route running.
Route run.
I forgot to
route
include route running. It's
Okay.
receivers. Sorry. But I'm going to cut that up for the TikTok. They won't even notice. But with my first overall pick, I'm going to go with Devontae Adams route running.
I like that.
Pretty clear choice for me there.
Pretty good.
And then with my next pick, I'm going to go with AJ Brown's body.
I like
AJ Brown is a
burly
man
dude.
amongst
Yeah,
boys.
Big burly dude. My next pick. I'm debating if well, there's a lot of fat. I think I'm gonna get hands out of the way. I'm gonna go with somewhat one of the guys who I think has the best hands, could be of all time. I'm gonna go with Odell Beckham Jr.
I like that.
Solid.
All right. I'm up. I think this is definitely a reach in the pick, but I think this guy's route running is underrated as hell, I guess you could say. I'm gonna take Hunter Renfro's route running actually.
Interesting.
Spicy.
I like, that guy always cooks. You always see clips. He's like a big clip guy, and I feel like his route running is crazy. With so we got hands, body, and athleticism left for my guy.
Yep. What are you thinking?
I was thinking of I'm gonna go out with the obvious here. I think I'm gonna take Justin Jefferson's body, honestly. I think this guy's pretty big, and I like, what he brings to the table.
Nice.
Big boy. My next pick, I'm gonna get speed out of the way. I'm gonna go with Tyreek Hill counterpart. I'm gonna go with Jalen Waddle.
Great pick. With my 2 picks here, I'm going to take. Man, this is a tough decision here. I'm going to take Stephon Diggs' hands, and I'm going to take Jamar Chase's speed.
I like that.
Those are my 2 picks.
I'm gonna go route running my next pick, and I'm gonna go with Amari Cooper.
Beautiful selection.
I like that too. All right, so for athleticism, I'm gonna go with Mike Williams.
Big body, big vertical.
I should have taken his body looking. I think about it, but this guy's crazy contested catcher too. So I like his athleticism. And for hands, I don't think there's a lot of options here, but I think this guy I feel like I rarely see him drop a pass. I'm gonna go Devontae Smith.
No, I've seen him drop a pass.
Nah, I never seen him drop a pass. Honestly. Oh wait, can I change my answer?
No.
Oh, set in stone.
Yeah.
So
I just realized how I should have taken.
With my last pick, I have athleticism left open. I'm gonna go DK Metcalf.
Oh, fuck, man. That was my pick.
Bro, he's been here so
For that
long.
vertical? Fuck, man.
He's been here too long. Bro, he jumped 8 feet.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, man.
Ridiculous. Athletic as fuck. Freak of nature.
Oh, man. That really.
My receiver's fucking sick.
My receivers.
He's kind of built like me. It's kind of crazy.
With my last pick, I'm going to go with Cooper Kupp's athleticism.
It's great determination right there.
Yep.
Great.
And that's that.
You want to run down your wide receiver?
We can run it down.
honestly forgot who I chose. I think I got an idea.
I have Devontae Adams route running, AJ Brown's body, Stephon Diggs hands, Jamar Chase speed, and Cooper Kupp's athleticism.
Yep. Nice. I got Mike Evans' body, Odell's hands, DK's athleticism, Jalen Waddle's speed, and Amari Cooper's route running.
That's tough.
All right,
That's tough.
I got Justin Jefferson's body, Hunter Renfro's route running. I forgot who I took athleticism.
Athleticism, you took Oh no, you took.
I took Mike Williams' athleticism,
Yeah.
Devontae Smith's hand, and Tyreek Hill's speed. Yep.
Nice receiver. Hunter Renfrow really was out of left field though.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good pick.
Yeah.
Don't get
I
me
feel like
wrong.
I could have picked like Ayuk or Jerry Judy too.
Jerry
I love
Jeudy,
Hunter
yeah.
Renfro's route running.
Yeah. All right. Blind rank these NFL legends based on their career stats. Blind rank these legendary NFL receivers based on their career stats. Player A has 928 receptions, 12,291 yards, and 83 touchdowns. Player B has 903 receptions, 13,629 yards, and 63 touchdowns.
Say the yards again for player B.
Player B has 13,629 yards.
And then 63 touchdowns, right?
63 touchdowns. Player B has 12,291 yards, 83 touchdowns.
That was a touchdown. Can you repeat the receptions rule?
So player A has 928 receptions. Player B has 903.
I'll go with player A.
How come?
I feel like player B whenever he got the ball, you could tell he was making larger plays because, with the less receptions and more yards, he was making bigger plays. But I like player A's consistency better. And he obviously had more touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm going to go player A. I mean, he hit the nail on the head saying with player B was more efficient with his catches, but the 20 touchdown discrepancy is a lot. So I'm going to go player A.
Player A was Antonio Brown, and player B was Julio Jones.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Food for thought. So that's about it.
Yeah, it was good.
That was fun.
I like that.
We enjoyed having you on, Joe,
Thank
for
you.
sure.
Thank
We'll
you.
definitely have you on again. Your hands are sweaty. You were definitely
Super
nervous.
sweaty.
So
man.
hopefully your second time around goes better for you.
Once we got to the games, I was like, fuck, I feel like I don't know. I'm blanking OD once we got.
That was crazy.
Yeah,
we didn't get
Ortiz
Jimmy
was
Graham.
blanking too. You guys struggled with Jimmy Graham. That was pretty fucking crazy.
But then after
I just wanted you guys to start guessing so I could put stuff in the TikTok. You guys were just sitting there in fucking silence, clueless.
I could not think of a single Saints player.
Bro,
I was like Marquise Colston, and that was it. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I can't think of another Saints player ever.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anyone.
But then after that, the juices kind of got flowing, and got off
Yeah.
pretty
Anyone
easy.
else was mad easy.
Randy
But
Moss was easy.
that was
I felt
our
rough.
first fantasy football mock draft. Like I said, we're gonna have a dynasty startup mock draft very soon. This is gonna be up Thursday morning, so probably by the time you guys finish watching this, we'll be posting our Friday pod already because we had technical difficulties. As we sit right now, I have no idea what we're doing Friday because I think the others are still gonna be gone Friday.
Yeah, I wish they
So-
told us when they were coming back.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to figure that out, but it'll be a movie.
Viral.
Before you guys go, if you guys haven't heard already, shout out to our sponsors over at SeatGeek. If you guys don't know about SeatGeek, they are the best ticketing app on the market. When you go on their app, they grade the seats from a scale of 1 to 10. They also color coordinate them. Green means a good deal. Red means a bad deal. If you're not using SeatGeek to go to concerts, sporting events, any type of event, you're a fool. And if you haven't used SeatGeek before, use our code BallGamePod at checkout of your first purchase for $20 off. Again, that's code BallGamePod for $20 off your first purchase. Thanks again to our sponsors over at SeatGeek. You guys are the goats of ticketing. But again, that was fun. Joe Cruz, we appreciate having you on.
Of course, anytime.
Everyone
Much love.
in the comments, leave a leave a heart, Joe Cruz, if you made it this far. But
love you, Joe
Yeah.
Cruz.
and again, leave a like on the YouTube video.